Welcome to Formosa Dream Chasers.
We're your hosts, Mary Ann
and Ching En.
Please join us as we explore the journeys amazing people take in pursuit of their dreams.
And get insights from their experiences.
Let's hit the road
and get started.
Hello and welcome back to Formosa Dream Chasers. Last week, we sat down with writer and Bandung Pop Darlings author Irfan Muhammad as he shared how his journey from Indonesia to Taiwan began. He shared how leaving his career in journalism back home for further studies gradually transformed into a life built around storytelling, creative work, and cross-cultural curiosity. In today's episode, we continue that conversation and dive even deeper. Irfan talks about the different Indonesian audiences living in Taiwan, how their backgrounds shape the stories they gravitate toward, and what it means to represent their voices in local media. He also shares how his work here has become a bridge between Indonesian and Taiwanese cultures, helping the two communities understand each other just a little better. So let's jump back in. Here's part 2 of our interview with Irfan Muhammad. You know, having lived here for, like you said, 4 years now, going on 5, how do you feel being Indonesian gives you a unique or different perspective when doing the stories or program here in Taiwan? What would you say are like some of the things you would consider being Indonesian that maybe a person like me or a Taiwanese would not be able to see or notice?
Yeah, that's very interesting for me because when we're talking about Indonesian in Taiwan, it's not only a single definition because Indonesian in Taiwan are very diverse. We have like some categorized and also some classes of the society. Like
really?
Yes, of course. Yeah, because like for example, some ini tuh Huaqiao. Yeah, they are different with the migrant workers. Yeah. They have a different culture. They have a different background in Indonesia. So it makes them have a different experiences as Indonesian. That's make us different and not really connect each other sometimes because we don't know each other. We have a very different background at all. So that's why, like for example, when I didn't blame my Taiwanese friends, I know like Indonesian already become a part of Taiwanese society because like the migration of Indonesia to Taiwan for study, for working is already from the 90s. And some Indonesian Chinese diaspora move from Indonesia to Taiwan is already from the 1960s. So it's already became part of Taiwanese society. But like Taiwanese and Indonesian not really understand each other. Yeah, like for example, many of my Taiwanese friends consider Indonesia as a home country of the migrant workers. That's all. They not really know about some people from Indonesia that came from the big city like Jakarta or my hometown Bandung, and we have a different character with some people that moved to Taiwan as a migrant workers. That many of them came from the rural area. So it also represents the Indonesia that Taiwanese understand. Yeah, like for example, the culture. I think many Indonesian culture that represent in Indonesia is Javanese culture. It's only small pieces of Indonesian culture because Indonesia is a very huge. We are an archipelago country with many islands, 1,000 islands. So we have a different culture, and I think many Taiwanese friends doesn't not really understand about that. But it's also not only happen from Taiwanese point of view to Indonesia. For us in Indonesia, we only know Meteor Garden when we're talking about Taiwan.
Oh,
Yeah. So that's why every time I back to Indonesia like for holiday, many of my friends asked me like, have you ever met Tao Mingse? Yeah, or have you ever met Sanchai? Something like that. That's only we know about Taiwan. So yeah, I think I try to fulfill this misunderstanding about the culture through my activities in Taiwan. So that's why, like for example, I brought some Indonesian bands to Taiwan. I'm promoting some Taiwanese bands to Indonesia, especially in indie music scene. yeah, I hope it can introduce Indonesia better for Taiwanese, and it also can introduce Taiwan better for Indonesian.
Okay. So, since we're touching about the work that you do to promote Indonesian music artists in Taiwan and vice versa, how did that part of your journey begin?
I getting involved in the music scene in Indonesia. It's quite a long time ago, since 2008, since in my college years. And then because in underground music, indie music, we are not only create the music but also build the community. And sometimes we connect each other through the internet. So before I moved to Taiwan, I already listened some Taiwanese bands
Mm,
through the internet, but not really into it. I mean, like, not really dig more about Taiwan culture. But I know some Taiwanese band in 2008, 2010. And then when I moved to Taiwan, I try to re-explore those bands. And I found some, and right now I'm making friends with them in person. So yeah, and I guess because Taiwan also has a new southbound policy, right?
yes.
Yeah, and the music industry is also part of the industry that had a concern in new southbound policy. They need, they want have a key person that can talking or that can explore or that can share the Taiwanese music to Southeast. And I guess not many Indonesian in Taiwan that working in this field. So yeah, I joined
Mm,
the project. I joined several festivals in Taiwan to pitch some band, and also sometimes we have a discussion about the Indonesian and Taiwan music, and naturally I involved with the music scene in Taiwan.
how did your love for music begin? I think this would be going back to your childhood.
Yeah. I think because in Indonesia we very close to music since we were kid. Like for example, my first music that I remember was in my kindergarten.
Wow.
My first cassette I bought, it was in my kindergarten years. But at that time I just like love the rhythm, love the melody, but I'm not really realize like who's the singer. But
Okay.
yeah, but in I think during the high school, I just realized music is not only music but also can empower people. And I met like some peers, some friends that also love same kind of music with me, and we hanging out together. We hanging out often. We make a community, and we organize the music event, like small music event, like for 100 people, like something like that. And it makes me more have an involvement in the music scene, not only as an audience but also as a music curator, music critic. Even like before I working in the newspaper as a political journalist, I used to work in the music media in my hometown Bandung in 2010. Yeah, I started working as a professional journalist in 2012, but in 2010 I started to writing for some music media in Bandung.
Mm,
So, yeah, that created my experience in music, and I know a lot of people in music because I'm writing music. I attend to several gigs. I also run a small record label during my time in Bandung. Yeah, it's like only small record label, like I mean like making like 50 copies of cassette. Yeah, it's a very underground. It's a very underground, but that's work make me know how the underground music network built. Yeah.
You know what I find so fascinating? I love how, every step of your journey, you have this little piece that you took with you that you later eventually used again as you continued on. Like you were sharing how you were a journalist back in Indonesia and then now you have a career in journalism here in Taiwan. I mean, it's really such a beautiful thing to see all of the little pieces come together, you know? Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating. So, what particular music genre do you focus on when you promote the music?
I think I can say indie music. And in Taiwan, indie music movement is also huge. So that's why it's relate. Like I focus on indie music, and in Indonesia, this music scene is also huge. When I moved to Taiwan, there are also some indie music community that very active. And in Taipei especially, there are many live houses that's very active to performing some Taiwanese indie band. So I think every night you go to in Taipei, you can easily find music event. So that's why
Mm,
I just come there and
mm.
then hanging out with them and then chit-chatting with them, and then I had a lot of information. Yeah.
Okay. Since we're talking about how people are reacting to the different types of music, how would you describe the response you have seen from, let's say, Taiwanese audiences towards Indonesian artists and their music?
They are surprised because, yeah, as I said, like many Taiwanese people already know about Indonesia, but the culture that they know about Indonesia is represented by the migrant workers. Yeah, it doesn't mean I say it like they didn't have pop culture, but when I introduce some Indonesian band, for example, that have similar references with the Taiwanese band or with the Taiwanese indie music audiences, they're surprised because they didn't expect in Indonesia we have that kind of music, but we have
Mm.
a lot just because they don't know. So yeah, like for example, when I introduce, for example, punk music to them, and they surprised like, oh, in Indonesia you have this kind of music. We have a lot. We have a lot since 1990s, since the 80s even. Yeah, just because you don't know, it doesn't mean it's never happened. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I see.
Same for my Indonesian friends because I'm very active in social media on Instagram, and I make a story a lot about my activities in Taiwan music scene, and many of my friends just realize, oh, Taiwan have a very interesting music scene. Yeah, we
Mm.
have. Yeah, we have, and yeah, like it's also started from 90s. Just because my Indonesian friend didn't know it, it doesn't never happen in Taiwan. So yeah,
I see.
so I try to become a bridge to communicate and to share like how we have like some similarities in independent music scene.
Seeing how you are very active in both Taiwan and in Indonesia, I'm curious, what do you think Indonesia's approach to promoting music compares to what you've observed here in Taiwan?
Hmm. I think in Indonesia we hanging out a lot. So the idea, the narrative about anything, not only about music, it's spread through the hangout groups. We are very communal. So like for example, when we have some spaces in our country that melting pot for a lot of people to meet, and sometimes we just had a coffee there and then talking about what happening, like for example the music trend, like for example if I listen some band that's very interesting to me, I will share to my friend. So through this kind of practice we promote, we share our music. But I think in Taiwan people here not really have hangout culture a lot as we do in Indonesia.
Mm,
So yeah, it's a quite different how to promote Indonesian music to Taiwanese rather than to Indonesian, because like for example for Indonesian, if one band is a very interesting to us, it would be spread easily to other friends or other hangout groups. Yeah, but in Taiwan, I think it's not that simple as in Indonesia. And also, oh, but I think in Taiwan, even though the music scene is smaller compared to Indonesia, but the audience are very loyal. Like for example,
mm.
I have a lot of friends in Taiwan music scene. Sometimes they come to my event not because they know the band or they want to see the band, but because they're my friends, so they support. Yeah.
Uh, which is a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Yeah, it's a good thing. Yeah, sometimes like that.
Okay, that's interesting. So you have a lot of things going on in your life. You're,
Mhm.
working to promote the music. You work as a reporter for, the Central News Agency. You're also a program host with Radio Taiwan International. I mean, how do you balance your work with all these efforts to share, let's say, Indonesian culture and information about Indonesia? Like, seems like a lot.
I think Taipei especially is a very convenient city.
Okay.
So it's a very easy to move from one point to another point. And compared to Indonesia, there is no traffic jam. I know like for some Taipei people, it's traffic jam, but for me, it's just like crowded.
Yeah.
Because traffic jam in Indonesia, maybe for Taiwanese, is like parking. Yeah, like we can spend like 2 hours only on the road for traffic jam, but in Taiwan, no. So that's why I can set my schedule very effective in Taiwan.
Mm.
And especially many music live houses in Taiwan, it's centralized in downtown, especially in the MRT Green Line from Chiang Kai-shek Memorial to Kongkwan. So it's a very easy to get into the live houses to see the band. So like for example, after work, I also lucky because I'm kind of flexible with my schedule in CNA and also RTI. Yeah, so I can set my schedule like for example, if my friend had an event and they invited me to join at 7:30 p.m. for example, so I can finish my job earlier at 7 and then I just need to 15 to 20 minutes to go to the live house. It's a very efficient. So yeah, I think that's helped me a lot to arrange my schedule in Taiwan compared to Indonesia. And also because we used to live in the COVID era that sometimes the interaction not only people to people, but yeah, I mean like not always need in person, but also online.
Yes.
So yeah, to arrange everything, I think right now people nowadays is already comfort with online session. Like for example, if I need an interview with some Indonesian migrant workers in Kaohsiung, for example, I don't need to go there, of course, right? I can do like online meeting with them. Yeah, and yeah, I think it's a very efficient. And I also kind of multitasking person. So yeah, even though I went to the music event, I can go like for 20 minutes only to upload my article, and it's okay for me. Yeah, I have no problem with that.
Okay, that's great. I do understand what you're saying about the traffic though, because I think maybe your traffic situation in Indonesia is similar to ours in Manila in the Philippines,
Yes,
where
yes, yes, yes,
it's
very similar.
where it literally sometimes just traveling from point A to point B can take more than like 2 to 4 hours. You're just
Yeah,
literally sitting there in the car, not moving.
yeah, so that's why I think, yeah, like for example, right now I live in Taipei, but when I still live in Hsinchu, I also actively involved in Taipei scene. I mean, like I go to Taipei often, and once my friends know I live in Hsinchu, they feels like I live in different galaxy. Like, oh, you are so far away. Calm down. I'm from Indonesia. 1 hour trip from Hsinchu to Taipei is nothing for me. Yeah, because in Indonesia, for one point to another point, I need like 2 hours. That originally only 30 minutes because of
Yeah.
the traffic jam. But in
Yes.
Taiwan, everything is a very convenience. Like from Hsinchu to Taipei, I take a bus, and they also have a very luxury seat for me, so I can take a sleep on the bus and then wake up in Hsinchu. Everything's okay.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It makes me also appreciate living in Taiwan a lot more.
Yeah.
Okay, is there a particular artist or project that you're especially proud of helping promote?
Ah,
That's where we'll end today's conversation with Irfan Muhammad, where we heard how he navigates through the different Indonesian audiences here in Taiwan and how he uses his work to connect the two cultures. Next week, we find out more about Irfan's personal reflections and the lessons he's learned while building a career and community here in Taiwan. If you're curious about the insights he's gained along the way, be sure to tune in. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in part 3.
This is Ching and Cho.
And Mary Ann Shoko.
See you guys next week.
Bye.